Hey guys, I got a new video for you today, and we're going to be looking at a new pair of Oakley sunglasses that I made mention in one of my previous reviews, and that was for the Oakley Ojector. And it's because this particular one is actually part of the same collection, which is the Verve collection, as that other one. And I mentioned that I saw these and I knew I had to come back and pick them up, and I went ahead and picked them up, and I want to go ahead and show them to you guys because it is a new model from Oakley. It's actually a pretty interesting new model, and I'll talk a little bit about that. And it's part of that other collection, but it looks completely different than the Ojector one does. So without further ado, this is the Oakley Kaast, and that's Kaast. I'm hoping I'm saying that correctly. And this particular one is in the Verve collection, so Verve. And the frame is actually called Verve Space Dust, and I really like that. That frame, it looks really, really cool, and I'll show. Hopefully, you guys will be able to see it when I take them out. And then this one does have the Prism Sapphire lenses. I tend to gravitate towards Prism Sapphire, primarily because I really like the way it looks, and I think it sets off the frames very nicely, and also because blue is my favorite color, so you know, I kind of tend to gravitate towards it. So let's go ahead and take a look at this model. Again, this is a new model from Oakley called the Kaast. Now, in speaking to some of the staff at the store, they mentioned that Oakley is trying to move towards making the majority of their frames unisex, and I think this is a style that kind of shows that the direction that Oakley is taking, and once you see it, you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. Now, I was surprised by the case here. I didn't even know that these came with these hard cases, which is really nice. And this is one of their carbon fiber hard cases. So again, this is a hard case, which is really nice. It protects your glasses very well. And then you have this polished icon at the top there. And then as you open it up, the inside is kind of felt lined, which is pretty cool. Top and the bottom, and then the glasses do come in a microfiber bag here, standard black one. And let's go ahead and take a look at them, and here they are. So we'll take this plastic off of the arm here, the stem, and again, this is the new model called the Kaast, and it is available in a ton of different colors. So if you guys like this particular model but you don't like this colorway, it is available in a lot of other colors. But as soon as I saw this model and as soon as I saw this frame, I knew I had to have it. I just really loved the way that it looks. I'm a big sucker for frames that change colors at different angles, and that's one of the things that I do like about the Prism Sapphire lenses, is that depending on the angle that you're looking at them, sometimes they're blue, sometimes they have purple hues. Hopefully when I turn the camera on and put them on, you'll be able to see them a little bit better as far as the lenses go, but I really do like that about the Prism Sapphire lenses. But I think the main attraction of this particular lens, or this particular frame, I should say, is the frame itself. It has some really, really cool angles. Now, if you see it right here, it does look a little bit different as far as the look itself. And that's what I was talking about, is where Oakley's trying to go to a more kind of unisex look to the majority of their frames, or to a lot of their frames. And you can kind of see that here. When I put them on, you'll see they have a little bit more of a cat-eye look to it, which a lot of traditional frames that are geared towards men do not have. Frames that are geared towards women usually have more of a cat-eye look to it. But again, I tried these on and I think they look great on me, and I like the way they look, and that's part of the reason why I picked them up. So let's go ahead and take a look at them. Obviously, the lens shape is very interesting because it's not a round, it's not an oval, because you do have a lot of different angles right here, even to the point where it comes all the way up to here, which is really interesting. So it's not a complete circle because you do have this area up here. And then if you see, there's some stylings that are almost etched into the lens right there. And then you also have it in the section right here that goes up against the nose, which is pretty interesting. And then you have it on the other side. The frame itself also has a lot of really interesting angles to it. So you have this, the nose bridge right here has some angles on the sides, And on the top right here, you do have this kind of squared off look on the side here, which is pretty interesting also. So as you open up the stems, they're really interesting because it's kind of wide right here and very squared off. And then you have a really, really small icon, which I don't know if you guys can see that, but it is so small. But it's really cool because it's almost like a chrome icon, and it reflects different colors when you see it. I'm hoping my camera is picking it up there. You could probably see it a lot there, which is really nice. And that is due to the fact that the frame also does that. So again, this is the Verve Space Dust frame, but that Space Dust treatment to the frame, it makes it look a lot of different colors depending on what angle. So you have yellows and oranges and greens and blues all through the frame there. So it looks really, really interesting. Really, really cool look to it. Really cool effect, I should say, to the frame itself too. Again, those different angles translate down to the stems right here also, so it's not flat. You have this flat piece right here, then you have another piece that comes out the bottom there, and then you have a flat piece on the top there as well. Even to the inside of the frame right here, if you see it, looks really cool. It almost has like a topographic look to it, like you're looking at a topographic map. And then you see it on this side also. And then you also even have it inside of the nose pieces right here. There's like some ridges. Now, speaking of the nose pieces, this is another really interesting point. The nose pieces are actually attached directly to the lenses. They're not attached to the frame. I don't know if you guys can make it out right there. So if you do decide to swap out the lenses, when you swap them out, you'll actually be swapping out the nose pieces as well, which is really interesting. And then you can see that kind of stylings, that etching on the lens right in there. Really, really interesting. So again, when I saw this pair, I knew, especially in this particular color, I knew that I had to pick them up just because of all the really cool new features and really cool new look to this particular frame, again, the Kaast frame here. But this one, as a whole, part of that Verve collection, this one being the Verve Space Dust frame with the Prism Sapphire lens, I think it looks really awesome. I mentioned my other review of the Ojector, which is part of the Verve collection as well. So I'll go ahead and link that in case you guys have not checked it out yet. That's another new model from Oakley. You can check it out. So I'll either link it above or put it in the description below. So let me go ahead and turn the camera around and put these on so you guys can see what they look like on me. Alright guys, so let me go ahead and put on these frames here so you can see what they look like. So as I mentioned, this is from what I heard, one of the first frames that Oakley is going to more of a unisex look. So it does have a slight cat eye look to it, but just what really sold me was the frame itself. And I know I mentioned it, and hopefully you're able to see it a little bit better, seeing the details as I move it around. That space dust effect on it, it kind of changes colors and stuff like that. It looks really cool. So as far as the lenses go, they're nice and big. They are going to give you a lot of coverage. It has a good wrap to it where you're going to get some coverage on the back right here, and then it's a fairly tall lens, so it's going to give you good coverage on the top and on the bottom. It is a little bit more on the narrow side, so again, you know, it's just something to think about, but it's a really, really interesting look to it. Again, hopefully you're seeing the Prism Sapphire lenses a little bit better now, that blue hue to it. I think it definitely sets off the frame itself too. So again, being part of the Verve collection, as I mentioned earlier with the other model, the Ojector that I previously reviewed, a lot of different color combinations. So this collection doesn't really follow one particular color combination in the frames and the lenses and stuff like that. And that's really cool. I like the fact that Oakley did that. Sometimes you don't know that one pair kind of belongs to the same collection as the other one, especially when you see the differences between this one and the Ojector. So again, the stems are nice and thin. They go all the way back. And as always, I like to show you guys when I go in some places, I throw the lenses on top of or the glasses on top of my head. You know, that way I have them readily available whenever I need them, and then once I go back outside, I can go ahead and throw them back on. Now you do have the unobtainium on the nose, which is going to help from the glasses not sliding down, especially if you're in a sweaty situation. But because you don't have it in the ears, I wouldn't recommend these for highly active activities. So if you're walking around outside and stuff like that, they're perfectly fine for driving and things like that. They are perfectly fine. Again, the unobtainium on the nose does give you a little bit of grip, but I would pretty much consider these more of a lifestyle frame. So again, those stylings around the nose area right here, that's one thing that I did mention, that as I'm looking out through the lenses, sometimes I do become a little bit aware of that, but after a while it kind of disappears and I don't see it anymore. But here it is, giving you guys a closer look to it. Hopefully you could see that iridescent look to the frame. It's changing colors and stuff like that. It looks really, really awesome. So again, if you're looking for something a little bit different than your standard Oakley frames, you want something that kind of looks a little bit more designer-like, I would almost say, the Kaast is actually a really nice frame to look for. So there it is, just a quick look at the Kaast model, Oakley's new model. This particular one being in the Verve collection. So this is the Verve Space Dust frame with the Prism Sapphire lenses. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Thanks.